WUJM, St. Petersburg.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Doctors in the House Health Show on 99.1 FM, WUJM, St. Petersburg Community Radio. We have an excellent program for you tonight. Please stay tuned. Hello. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Doctors in the House, your health show, a program about wellness, mental health, and disease prevention. I'm Dr. Morency, your host. I'd like to thank you for tuning in to 99.1 WUGM, Florida, St. Petersburg, Florida. And for those of you listening online, appreciate you being there. Thank you. If you have any concern or feedback, you can call at 727-637-2416. The topic tonight is what can we learn from the Blue Zone region of the world? So if you're ready for an adventure, let's go. So we're going to go into this adventure around part of the world, and hopefully to those of you not familiar with our destination today, this journey will be an eye-opener about us human beings, about our diversity, and about what we can learn from each other across this various boundary we have imposed on ourselves over the course of our human evolution. A few questions for you to start. Do you know that there are places in the world where there are clusters of men and women that lives well over 100 years and are in good health? Do you know that there are places, many places in the world where chronic disease are not inevitable or expected? Where retirement is not a word, actually. Where you are not expected to suffer from Alzheimer's because of old age. And there are many, many places that also where healthcare is not a privilege, it's just a right. So such areas do exist, and so far those areas have existed in spite of the relentless pressure of technology and human greed. Those areas we're going to talk about tonight are called blue zones. They are regions scattered around the world where people live the longest and healthiest on the planet. This region has not been identified and studied until recently, 1999, when Mr. Dan Buettner, an American National Geographic Fellow, an explorer, educator, producer, and also a New York Times best-selling author, gathered with him with a team of researcher, demographer, photographer, and they embark on the expedition to find the blue zones. And in fact, by 2008, they had already discovered the 5 blue zone, which is the quantity of area of blue zone area that we now know. According to Dan, the blue zone is more of a concept. It's not necessarily a geographic term, and I will tell you how this name come about. The blue zone term rather describes the environment and the lifestyle of the world's longest living people. Moreover, the finding of the research of the blue zone folks have greatly contributed to the understanding of the factors explaining the longevity and health status of the people. By the way, there's a lot of information we're going to talk about for this show. But if you really want a specific detail about the Blue Zone, that information is chronicled in Mr. Dan Buettner's first two books, one called The Blue Zone and the other, The Blue Zone Solution. Those two books became New York bestsellers and caught the worldwide media attention. So, what are the questions we're going to try to at least discuss for this particular show? Well, we want to know where are the Blue Zone. We want to know why the color blue was chosen. What makes the Blue Zone special? What do they have in common? What are the implications of the finding of the Blue Zone? And what are the lessons for us? Now, first of all, the Blue Zones are scattered around the world, as I said, and include the following region. Ikaria, Greece, Okinawa in Japan, the province of Giustria in Sardina, Italy. That's number 3, the community of Seventh-day Adventists in Loma Linda, California, and the Nicoya Peninsula in Costa Rica. And so far, those are the Blue Zone that's been identified. And that covered the time between 1999 and 2008. Now, it's a very interesting question when you say, why do they call this a Blue Zone? Well, it's not that difficult. The term comes from the fact that some of the researchers working with Dan use a blue marker on a map to outline the exact location where those centenarians were concentrated. So the term was adopted and then actually trademarked in 2005. So what we're going to do is basically drill down on the Blue Zone. The first Blue Zone that was discovered or explored, for that matter, was Okinawa. That was around mid-1999. Okinawa has the longest disability-free life expectancy in the world, and it's also the home of the world's longest-lived women. This region is located in the southwestern tip of Japan, with a population of 1.5 million. That was back in 2011. Okinawa offers many secrets to longevity. One of their traditions that is well known, that we find fascinating in terms of longevity, one of the traditions is called mohai. Mohai meaning for common purposes. Essentially, it's a group of 5 people that comes together to form a secure social network. So you see in Okinawa, at age 5, children are put into this community committed social network, which provide both financial and emotional support in time of need, and give the members of the group the security of knowing that there's always someone there for them. One specific mohai that talked about in the research has been put together for 97 years. Can you imagine, age 5? 97 years. So the average age of the group is actually 102. They meet every day to discuss their issues, common issues, to drink their sake, the Japanese rice wine, to gossip, to talk about their personal thing. They're there for each other. And if actually one of them doesn't show up, the other 4 would go across the village to check on their friends. So the other thing the Okinawan attribute their longevity to is an old Confucian mantra that says, before meal, hara hachibu, which remind them to stop eating when their stomach is 80% full, so they don't overeat. They also have a strong sense of purpose in their family. As a matter of fact, one of those centenarians described the feeling of holding her great-great-great-grandchild as jumping into heaven. Now, let's go quickly to the second area discovered, the blue zone. It's Sardinia, around 2000 time. Sardinia is located off the coast of Italy. It's home to the world's longest lived men. Most specifically, the precise area of that Sardinia is the province of Oglistra, which is a mountain region. Around 60,000 people live there. It's a community of shepherds who basically walk 5 to 6 mountainous miles every day to do their job. The classic Sardinian diet is plant-based and consists of whole grain, bread, beans, garden vegetables, and fruit. And they eat some meat. They're not all plant-based. They also have some meat which are special and reserved for special occasion. They are very happy folks because they have happy hour every day to relax. They drink their wine moderately. Actually, the wine is named Canono, and which has 2 to 3 times the chemical called flavonoid, which is basically one of those arteries cleaning wine, more so than other wine. They consume moderate wine, and that may explain why those folks are so happy and can relax. So the next zone discovered was actually in the United States. It's the community of Loma Linda, and that was in 2005. This Adventist community in California, a close-knit group of people from the Adventist church. 1/3 of them, they're about 1/3 of the population, so you're talking about 8,000 folks. A little bit more affluent than the other blue zone. But generally, they outlive the average American by a decade. They take their diet and their lifestyle from the Bible, the book of Leviticus, by consuming a vegan diet and with leafy green, nuts, and legumes. No alcohol, no smoking. They are very energetic, they are upbeat, and they are social. Obviously, they practice the Sabbath, and which provide them the opportunity to dine shift for 24 hours every week. So Friday afternoon, by sundown, they take a break until Saturday around the same time. So they go to church in the morning, and they get together and eat their meal on Saturday afternoon, and they go for walks. The church is located in the campus of Loma Linda University. 250 or so of the members of that church, and they still have another 500 who are in their 80s, 80 to 89, and they are very active late into their 90s. Such example of one of those Adventists in Loma Linda, Dr. Elworth Wareham. He's 95 years old, right? At 95, he still builds his own private fence because he finds that it's too expensive for other people to build it. He would buy his material and build his own fences. And guess what? He's a heart surgeon, open heart surgery. He does open heart surgery. And still at that age, he would do 20 surgery every month. So similarly, there's another lady called Marge Jetten. She was 105. She woke up every morning at 5:30, read a Bible. He had breakfast of slow-cooked oatmeal, nuts, and dates with soy milk, and a prune juice shooter. Then she would ride a stationary bike for 30 minutes before she get into a Cadillac and go to the busy road, Highway 5 in California, to drive to a volunteer job, which she does for 7 different organizations at age 105. The next the next region we're gonna visit, Blue Zone, is the Nicoya Peninsula, and that was discovered and studied around 2006. Nicoya is a 80 miles peninsula in the Pacific Northwest of Costa Rica, just south of the Nicaraguan border. You have a population of about 25,000 folks in 2011. The Nicoyans spend just about 15% of what we in the United States does on healthcare. And they are famous for having a population of middle-aged folks without any chronic disease. They are more than twice as likely than Americans to reach a healthy age of 90. Their faith and their family play a strong role in the culture. So there's what they call plan de vida, or reason to live. And that helps the elders maintain a positive outlook and an active lifestyle. Nicoyans eat little to no processed food. They love their homemade tortilla, which they eat for breakfast with beans, and they drink plenty of antioxidant-rich tropical fruit they make. And they also have a unique secret, which apparently is very famous there. They drink calcium and magnesium-rich water, which apparently ward off heart disease and promote strong bones. So the last Blue Zone we'll talk about is Ikaria Greece. That was in Sardina, Italy. And since then, this term, whenever they look at those regions, they call them blue. Near the border of Turkey, population of 8,000 in 2011. They live on average 8 years longer than Americans do. They experience 20% less cancer. They have half of the rate of heart disease in the United States. And that's probably one of the regions where there's almost no dementia. So they live healthy to their old age. They eat a variety of the Mediterranean diet with lots of fruits and vegetables, whole grain, beans, potato, and olive oil. They control their stress by having a midday break, in which they take a nap. And nap is actually a very essential thing for the body energy. Most people who nap has a 25% lower chance of dying from heart disease. Let's talk about one particular Okinawan. It's Mr. Morency. He moved to America when he was actually 22 years old to pursue the American dream. And when he came to the state, he became a painter, immediately started a business, was very successful, bought a house, got married, and has three kids. At age 65 or so, he developed terminal lung cancer and was sent home to die. So instead of dying in America, he decided to move back to Ikaria and move in with his parents. And from there, he said he goes out and really breathe clean air, drank the wine, eating the Mediterranean food. After a few months, he felt better, and he planted a garden, not planning on ever getting to harvest the vegetables. However, 37 years later, he was still alive and had a vineyard that produced 200 liters of wine a year. And somebody said to him, why don't you go back to America and tell your doctors that you're still alive? And he replied that all my doctors are dead. So what's so special about the Blue Zone? What do they have in common? I've been fascinated with the Blue Zone. I've heard about it. That's why I was so curious to really research and actually do this talk. The team, the explorers, have found the Blue Zone share 9 specific lifestyle habits, which they refer to as Power 9. Now, the secret is really in the discussion of the Power 9, so it's going to be take a little more to get in depth of the Power 9, but let's give you a little a preview. So the resident of the Blue Zone belong to a faith-based community. So, and they find that doesn't matter what denomination, as long as they belong to some form of faith-based community, and which actually potentially can add to people's lives. They also downshift. Now, they're not immune to stress. Everybody's have stress, and those people work hard, especially those regions where they're not necessarily rich. Okay, they do the farm, they take care of the animals, and they do, they bring their food. They work hard. So, but what they do, each of those regions, they have their own routine to take care of the stress and let it go. Number 3, except for Loma Linda Adventists, the rest of the Blue Zone resident, they drink alcohol moderately and regularly, at least 1 or 2 glasses a day. Number 4, they all eat their plant-based diet. Plant-based food like legume, nuts, vegetables, whole grain are the cornerstone of most of those Blue Zone diet. Although meat is also consumed, but mostly it's pork, which they eat on occasion, like 4 or 5 times a month, and their uncle Harry pigs. Generally, the Blue Zone folks have big breakfast. That's the power meal. That's where they get their energy meal. They eat a medium lunch and a small dinner. Generally, they don't go to bed with a full belly. In general, the positive food they have around, they want to have around, or they have around, are beans, sweet potato, 100% whole wheat bread, and some kind of fruit. The no-no food that you're not going to find mostly in any of those places are sweets, like cookie, candies, ice cream, chips of any kind, soda pop, and sweet cereal. Number 5 of their secret, they focus on the family. The residents of Blue Zone put family first. Whether it's aging parents, children, grandparents, etc., family come first. The veneration of the elders is a big factor in their life. Number 6, power. They have a purpose. And many studies have been supporting this. Having a purpose in life is very, very important. And those people, they love what they do. They enjoy themselves. For instance, the Okinawan, they really worship their family. A family, older parents is somebody special, is a treasure that can pass on the secret and the tradition. So they really take care of the family. And number 7, unlike the modern states, the industrial state, the folks in the Blue Zone, they move naturally. It's not like they organize to go to the gym, to go for a walk. They live in a natural environment that nudge them to move without thinking about it. Activity like climbing, gardening, walking, and like the people in Sardinia, they walk mountain. Okay? And that's part of their everyday life. Number 8, they practice the 80% rules. The 80% rule means that when you eat until you are 80% full, so that the 20% gap between not being hungry and fully full could be all the difference between losing or gaining weight. Number 9, finally, to support one another. To support one another. The world's longest living people belong to social circles that support healthy behavior. Like we talk about the Okinawan with their moai, you know, where from their childhood they belong to a group that support each other. So in a sense, you could see the difference, the specialty, the attractive aspect that explain the longevity of those folks. And some other detail that is not here that we can discuss further, you know, even though technology is catching on with them, some of them have some cell phone, but they don't really spend time watching television, maybe 45 minutes of TV, if they have an old TV in their kitchen. Okay. So you have those areas that are scattered all over the place, small region, because for instance, Sardinia, most of the population of Sardinia are not centenarian, but in that little town of the province, Oglistra, where you have the longest living men in the planet, you could see it's a mountainous place. They work very hard, but they take breaks. They go down and relax, and they drink their wine, and they have happy hour. They enjoy themselves. They're surrounding themselves by their family, so on and so forth. So in conclusion, it is very fascinating to learn about the culture and the successes of this region in terms of longevity and being healthy, which is a big deal, okay? Because if you can have a life where you live your life disease-free and then you just go to bed and die up until 90s, 100, that's a blessing. So these blue zones scattered around the world, we mentioned them, that Ikaria in Greece, Okinawa in Japan, Oglistra in Sardinia in Italy, the community of Seventh-day Adventists in Loma Linda, California, and the Nicoya Peninsula in Costa Rica. They clearly give you a glimpse that indeed there are places in the world where people live a long and healthy life until they die, without losing their health, without losing their sanity and their family. They live in a community where they put their loved one first from the beginning to the end. They eat healthy food, stay active, and know how to distress. What's also important about those regions, which is essential to really understand and realize, that the community either naturally or by planning, create the right environment for an individual to thrive. They don't think about go to exercise or do gym. It comes naturally. They don't have to fight to get healthy food. It's in the environment. They grow their own food. Okay? So when we go into detail of the Power 9, we will see how special these regions are. Now, it's very possible that since this is a recent discovery and the project is still going on, there may be more blue zone to be discovered. But right now, what we'll discuss the next time is to kind of be like the Power Zone, and what Dan has been doing with this project and bringing it to America, and has already have a number of cities that are interested into adopting the lifestyle of this blue zone. So I thank you folks for your time and attention. It's always been my pleasure to bring this show to you. Please give us your feedback. It's very appreciated. You can call at 727-637-2416. If you missed the show, there will be hopefully a video recording or audio recording that I will put on my YouTube channel, Eve Morency, at Eve Morency. Thank you very much.